If you want to grow your own backyard pharmacy, start with these 10 healing plants for sleep, skin, cold season rituals, digestion, and everyday wellness. Because honestly, you could spend $100 at Whole Foods, Costco, or the supplement aisle on teas, gummies, tinctures, and clean skincare, or use that money to start growing the plants behind those products. This isn't medical advice, and it's not about replacing doctors. It's about bringing simple plant rituals back into daily life. So save this video, and let's start with the first flower I'd grow for skin. Part 1. Skin and First Aid Herbs. Section 1. Calendula, the backyard skincare flower. The first plant I'd grow is calendula, because honestly, it looks like a simple orange flower, but it does way more than sit there looking pretty. You can tuck it into a backyard flower bed, a raised bed border, or even a patio container, and it instantly makes the garden feel brighter. But here's the surprising part. Calendula is the flower that can move from your pollinator garden to your bathroom counter. Herbalists have used it for generations in skin oils, salves, and soothing preparations, and modern research has looked at calendula extract for skin support and wound care applications. And it's not expensive to start. A tiny jar of natural calendula cream can cost $20 or $30. But a packet of seeds and some potting mix can give you a whole season of flowers. Dry the petals, infuse them in oil, add them to tea, or use them in a homemade body butter. Calendula is the gentle skin herb, but the next plant has a much tougher reputation. Section 2. Yarrow, the old battlefield herb. Next is yarrow, and this one feels completely different. Calendula is soft and sunny, but yarrow has that wild, old-world look, feathery leaves, flat clusters of flowers, the kind of plant you might see in a pollinator meadow, or along the edge of a country road and not think twice about. But yarrow isn't just a wildflower. It has a battlefield reputation. Even the name Achillea connects back to Achilles, and for a long time, herbal traditions treated yarrow as a wound plant. Modern studies are still looking at some of those hemostatic, skin-supporting properties in a more controlled way. And in the garden, it's tough. Full sun, poor soil, drought yarrow can handle a lot. Instead of constantly buying natural first aid products, you can grow one hardy perennial that comes back year after year. So that's the skin and first aid corner of the backyard pharmacy. But what about cold season? Part 2. Cold season and immune support plants. Section 3. Echinacea, the immune aisle flower. Now for cold season, let's talk about echinacea. Most Americans know this plant from the supplement aisle. Capsules, gummies, tinctures. Those little immune teas that show up every fall. But here's the thing. Echinacea is not just a product in a bottle. It's a native-style garden flower, hiding behind the wellness label. Those purple cone flowers can sit right in a sunny backyard border, a pollinator bed, or a meadow-style garden, feeding butterflies while looking beautiful for months. And the science is cautious, which I actually appreciate. Research suggests echinacea may slightly reduce the chance of catching a cold, but it's not some magic cure. People knew this plant long before it was branded into capsules, and science is still clarifying what it can and cannot do. A tincture bottle disappears fast. A few plants can come back season after season. If echinacea is the supplement aisle flower, elderberry is the syrup plant. Section 4. Elderberry, the cold season syrup shrub. Elderberry is the one most people recognize when cold season hits. You see it everywhere. Syrups, gummies, lozenges, little bottles sitting in the health aisle for $25 or more. But here's the twist. Elderberry is not just a product. It's a living shrub. If you have a backyard, a homestead, or even a property edge where you can build an edible hedge, elderberry can become part of the landscape. It gives you flowers, then deep purple berries, and wildlife loves it too. Research is still cautious, but preliminary studies suggest elderberry may help with symptoms of colds, flu, and upper respiratory infections. The key word is may. It's not a miracle cure, and this plant deserves respect. Raw or unripe berries, stems, and leaves can make you sick. So elderberries must be prepared properly. But honestly, for most people, the daily struggle isn't always cold season. It's stress. It's sleep. It's trying to wind down. Part 3. Sleep, Stress, and Evening Ritual Herbs. Section 5. Lemon Balm, the calm down patio herb. Now we move into the plants that help change the mood of an evening, and lemon balm might be my favorite for beginners. The second you crush a leaf, you get this fresh, lemony smell almost like a warm towel at a spa. It feels calming before you even drink it. But lemon balm isn't just a nice-smelling herb. Honestly, this is the plant I'd grow for anyone whose brain refuses to shut off at night. Modern research is starting to look at lemon balm for calming effects, anxiety-related support, and sleep quality, which is interesting because herbal tea drinkers have felt that for a long time. And it is easy. Almost too easy. Lemon balm can spread. So I'd grow it in a pot on a patio, deck, or balcony instead of letting it take over a raised bed. A $15 box of calming tea disappears fast. One lemon balm plant can give you harvest after harvest. Lemon balm works through flavor. Lavender works before you even taste it. Section 6. Lavender, the scent Americans already trust. Lavender is probably the calmest plant in America before people even grow it. It's in candles, pillow sprays, bath salts, laundry products, essential oils, everywhere. But here's the thing. When you grow lavender yourself, it stops being just a fragrance and becomes the actual plant behind the calm aesthetic. The research is cautious. Some studies suggest certain lavender oil products may help with anxiety, but the evidence around aromatherapy and sleep is still not perfect. Still, the cultural memory is strong. People have connected lavender with calm, clean linens, warm baths, and bedtime rituals for a very long time. In the garden, lavender wants full sun, airflow, and soil that drains fast. If you're in a humid state, don't baby it with too much water. Put it in a terracotta pot, a sunny raised bed, or a dry patio container. Instead of buying lavender products every month, grow one plant, dry your own bundles, and let the scent do part of the work. But when it comes to bedtime tea, there's one classic herb almost everyone already knows. Section 7. Chamomile, the grocery store tea bag that becomes a ritual. Chamomile is the herb almost everyone already has a memory of. Maybe it was a tea bag in your grandmother's pantry or the box you bought at the grocery store when you were stressed and just wanted something warm before bed. But here's the thing. Chamomile becomes completely different when you grow it yourself. Suddenly, it's not just a tea bag. It's a tiny white flower you picked, dried, stored in a jar, and saved for the quietest part of the day. The science around chamomile and insomnia is still cautious, so I wouldn't call it a cure for sleep problems. But as a bedtime ritual, that's where it shines. The soft apple-like smell, the steam from the cup, the simple act of slowing down that matters. And money-wise, a box of chamomile tea disappears quickly. A small patch in a raised bed, herb garden, or container can become your own supply of dried flowers. Chamomile is the base. But the next herb is what makes the tea easier to drink after a late dinner. Section 8. Mint, the digestive flavor herb that must stay in a pot. Mint is the herb that feels familiar before you even think about it. Mint tea, gum, toothpaste, mojitos. After dinner drinks, it's everywhere. But in a backyard pharmacy, mint has a very specific job. It makes herbal tea actually taste good. And honestly, that matters. Some medicinal herbs can taste grassy, bitter, or a little too serious. Mint brings that clean, cooling finish that makes the whole blend easier to drink, especially after a late dinner. Research on peppermint oil is more specific, especially around short-term digestive support, but I wouldn't turn a casual cup of mint tea into a medical claim. I'd just say this. Cultures around the world have used mint after meals for a long time, and the ritual still makes sense. But please, grow it in a pot. One container can keep producing for months. A raised bed? Mint will take over like it owns the place. Now, those are the herbs people expect. But the next one is pure curiosity. Part 4. Overlooked and curiosity plants. Section 9. Southernwood, Cola plant, the herb that smells like soda. Southernwood is one of those herbs most Americans have never heard of, and that actually makes it more interesting. It's sometimes called the cola plant because when you brush the leaves and smell your fingers, honestly, it can smell like old-fashioned cola candy or fizzy soda. Now, this isn't the herb I'd sell as the biggest money saver. You probably won't find it in every Home Depot or Lowe's. You may need a local herb nursery, a specialty nursery, or an online seed supplier. But this is the plant that makes a garden feel personal. The one guest stopped to smell twice. Historically, southernwood was grown as an aromatic herb and even used in traditional gardens as an insect repellent plant. Some plants survive in culture not because they're trendy, but because they're memorable. And this leads to a bigger idea. Sometimes the most useful plants are the ones Americans are trained to kill. Section 10. Dandelion. The lawnweed America forgot. Dandelion is probably the most familiar plant on this list, at least in America. We see it in lawns, sidewalks, schoolyards, and weed killer commercials. For a lot of people, the first reaction is not, "Can I use that?" It's, "How do I get rid of it?" But here's the twist. Dandelion is the plant older generations recognized before lawn culture taught us to hate it. The leaves, flowers, and roots all have histories in food and folk herbalism, and research has looked at dandelion for antioxidant and anti-inflammatory compounds, but I'd still keep this in the traditional use category, not miracle medicine. And the money contrast is wild. We spend money killing dandelions, then spend money buying bitter greens, detox teas, and herbal products. Just be careful. Only harvest from unsprayed lawns, never roadsides or chemically treated areas. And dandelion is not the only so-called weed hiding in plain sight. Section 11. Plantain. The plant under your feet. Plantain is another plant people step over all the time without knowing what it is. And just to be clear, I'm talking about plantago, the little lawn plant, not the banana-like plantain you cook with. You'll see it in paths, compacted soil, backyards, and places people walk constantly. Most people call it lawn clutter, but herbalists often talk about plantain as one of the classic first aid weeds, especially in folk traditions around skin irritation and minor outdoor discomforts. And this is where it gets interesting. Modern reviews have looked at plantago major for antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, and wound support properties. So again, science is circling back to a plant traditional herbalists never really forgot. But be careful. Don't harvest from sprayed lawns, roadsides, or pet-heavy areas. Grow it clean, or learn from a trusted local foraging source. Now let's turn these plants from information into something you can actually use tonight. Part 5. Practical Payoffs. Section 12. The Backyard Bedtime Tea Blend. For a simple bedtime tea, start with chamomile as the base, then add lemon balm for calm, lavender for aroma, rose petals for a soft floral note, and mint to make it easier to drink after dinner. This isn't a cure for insomnia, but it's a practical wind-down routine. Instead of buying sleep tea every few weeks, you can grow most of these herbs in patio pots, raised beds, or a small backyard tea garden. Section 13. Calendula Lavender Moisturizer. Calendula is one of the most useful flowers for homemade skincare. Dry the petals, infuse them in olive oil, add a little lavender, then blend that oil with shea butter and cacao butter to make a simple body or hair moisturizer. A clean body butter can cost $25, $40, but one patch of calendula can give you enough petals for several homemade jars. Always patch test first, especially on sensitive skin, so you don't need to reject modern medicine. And you don't need to become a full-time homesteader either. But you can stop seeing health as something that only comes in bottles, boxes, and plastic packaging. Calendula for skin, elderberry for cold season rituals, lemon balm and chamomile for bedtime, dandelion for rethinking weeds. Each plant gives you a little more control and connection. Comment below. Which one would you grow first? And subscribe for more plants you can grow, use, and bring into daily life.